Welcome everyone to our postnatal session for our Yoga and Wellness Chats. Today we're welcoming in Krista Kirkpatrick-Hatch from KKH Doula. She's a local mom and a postpartum doula, and she'll be sharing a little bit about herself and how she works with families. So welcome, Krista.
Great. Thank you so much, Cher. And thank you everyone for having me here. Like Cher said, I am a postpartum doula here in Calgary and a mother of three. And really what inspired me to become a doula was my own less than stellar postpartum experience, I'll say. In the beginning, everything was really great. I think hormones were still in a good place. And then after some months, when the hormones dropped off completely, and, the interest initially in baby and me kind of faded as well, that's when I noticed a lot of my support faded too. And so, um, maybe about 4 or 5 months in, I was noticing that I was really struggling doing everything by myself. Um, my mental health was really starting to fail me, and shortly after that, I was actually diagnosed with postpartum depression and anxiety. Um, and so I sought out help at Families Matter. They have a perinatal mental health group, which is really great. And in that group, that's when I learned about doulas. And I had never really thought about doula support before because I didn't know about a doula. But for me, I don't have any of my family really to support me. My parents have passed away. My sisters were, doing their own thing, and so I would have really benefited and thrived from having that doula support. And so yeah, as soon as I graduated from the perinatal mental health group, I signed up for a doula course, got trained, and the rest is history. I became a postpartum doula, and I've been helping families ever since. And so, really, what I wanted to come here today to talk about is just that support in the postpartum period and how imperative it is. I do believe that here in Canada and other individualized countries where the mentality is like we always have to do everything by ourselves, and that is a sign of strength. Um, we as parents really, suffer from that kind of mentality, myself included. That's how I grew up. And that's how I saw myself being parented by my mom, who at times was parenting me and my sisters alone. So, like that shift in mentality took a while, but here now I realize, parenthood and especially that postpartum period, it's not meant to be done alone. And what I really am passionate about as a doula is spreading that awareness around where you can find that support, who you can reach out to, and, really try and I would like to say prevent you from struggling, but maybe soften that struggling a little bit more and just be that person that you can fall back into and hopefully help you to create that village of family, friends, and other professionals that you can really rely on in this really beautiful time.
Yes, absolutely. I can so relate to your story, your walk through that journey. And I think that's why I'm so passionate about this too. I think it's so important to be sharing these conversations, that it's a beautiful journey and it's also got its challenges, and that there's this concept of just do it yourself and figure it out. And I know in my heart of hearts that when we connect, even to have a person to talk to about these things and share some of the workload and or just be able to relate to while we're going through it, it can be a game changer through those early days, those early weeks, those early months of parenthood.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's really tricky too because online, like on Instagram, on YouTube, you see this like dichotomy of everyone doing really well or like the really scary things. And when you're in that fragile state, those are not healthy things to, have come at you. And so, online, it's not really a realistic representation of motherhood. And I
Mm,
think we do need to kind of normalize that motherhood isn't neat and tidy all of the time. And neither is parenthood, you know. And so, yeah, just continuing to have those conversations, reaching out to your postpartum friends, especially like even if you just swing by with a coffee or a meal and just say, "Hey, I left it on your doorstep. I know you probably aren't up for a visit, but it's there. And, I was just thinking about you." I think that would mean just the world to, somebody who might be in the thick of it. Yeah.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Yes, I love that. It's the connections that come through that are so powerful. Even if it's a seemingly small gesture, it honestly can mean the world to somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And why don't you share a little bit about how you are working with families, the range that you are facilitating through these supports? I know sometimes maybe it's more typical or common to think of the birth doula, and the postpartum doula is maybe a little bit new to some people. So yeah, why don't you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I think you're absolutely right. I think a lot of people know about the birth doula, and some people know about the postpartum side of things. And so, postpartum doulas, we're that support after baby's born. And so, we will kind of do whatever the family needs for support, and we tailor it very individualistically to the family's needs. And so, for me, for example, I will offer daytime support, I will offer overnight support or evening support. And what that can look like is I just come in, maybe, I talk to the mom or the parent and just kind of see where they're at. I can debrief with them if like the birth was not great for them, or they had questions, or something didn't feel right, or even if like baby was crying all night and they lost it, I can talk to them and try and just like be there for them in those kinds of situations. But we also do cooking, cleaning, like caretaking. So, we'll take care of baby, we'll change diapers. Some of us will bathe, some of us will not, and that's okay. Everyone has their boundaries, right? Um, and we'll play with them. I do tummy time with babies. I think that that's just really beautiful to be on the floor with them and watch them grow.
Mhm.
Um, we also can run errands. So there's been times where I've done grocery shopping for a family where, they don't want to go out in the snow. I get it. I don't either, but my car can facilitate such things. Um, and so I've run errands. I've helped support the partner. So if the partner has questions or reservations, I've been a listening ear to the partner. Um, and yeah, I think the amount of stuff that we can do, I don't know that there's really a limit to it, per se.
Yeah.
Each individual doula will have their limits, but I think really like if the family needs something, the doula can consider it. And if they can't, then they can always refer out to other resources that can.
Yeah,
Um,
they know
one
about a lot.
Yeah, yeah, and I think like one of the biggest things that parents should realize is that we're not mental health professionals. We're not nurses, we're not
Mhm.
medically trained people. So we'll refer out to people who that is their scope of practice.
Yeah.
We'll certainly be there to listen and, to validate and to normalize, but we're not therapists. And so there are people who will come to me, they'll talk about their experience, and I can resonate, I can relate in so many ways. But if I'm noticing that maybe more help is needed, that's where I'll redirect them to those
Yeah.
outside resources. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a great overview and a great reminder on what you're there for and what is outside of your scope and where others can come in. Yeah,
Hmm.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And how
Yeah.
does somebody get connected with you through that process to even begin working with someone like yourself?
Yeah, there are a few ways. There's always Google. Google's very reliable. You just put postpartum doula Calgary,
Yeah.
and so many options will pop up. I'm a part of the Calgary Doula Association, and so that is a body of doulas. It's not just postpartum doulas, it's birth doulas, it's death doulas, it's full spectrum doulas, fertility doulas. Like all of us in a group, and you can reach out to the CDA and ask like, hey, I'm looking for support, can you put a call out? And then the members of the well, like the board members of the CDA will put that call out and see if there are any doulas available. There's also websites that you can access doulas on, and so the biggest one that comes to mind for me is doulamatch.net.
Okay.
And yeah, and you can just, type in what you're looking for. It says, I'm looking for a birth or postpartum. You put in your postal code and it'll pop up the doulas in your vicinity that have the availability that you're looking for. And so that's a really cool website. There are others, and but yeah, like those are the three main ones I think that yeah, I can think of. And then of course, if people want to reach out to me directly, I have social media, email,
Yeah.
things like that. So
Yeah, we'll connect everyone with your specifics as well. So after that initial process of finding someone out there, what does that look like for, is there a consultation first? Is there a duration of time that you typically work with people on? What do those initial steps look like?
yeah, for sure. So, um, usually what will happen is we'll get that email, we can set up a consultation, and many of us doulas do a free consultation of about a half an hour to an hour. And
Nice.
that's where families and the doulas are getting to know one another. We're doing that vibe check to see if we're even a good match for each other.
Yeah,
Because,
important.
you know, we recognize that we're not perfect for every family, but we would maybe connect better over here with a
Yeah.
different family, and that's okay. I I don't know that I would want to work with a family necessarily that, doesn't share the same values or my sense of humor, right? Like
Yeah,
if
so
they think,
match. Yeah.
yeah, that's exactly it. And so like if they're offended by my sense of humor, then I wouldn't want to work with them and put them through that. you know
Yeah.
but then yeah, after that, like we can either work together immediately or plan for the future. And so there are times where I'll have families say, hey, I'm expecting in February, what does your availability look like? And I can kind of give them,
Time.
yeah, an idea of like what days and times I have available. Shifts can range between a few hours to a full day shift.
Great.
Overnight,
Like you said, yeah, yeah.
yeah, overnights are the same. Yeah, so it can be like 6 to 8 hours. I've had requests for 10 hours before. And yeah, like it's all very dependent on the family's needs.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then in terms of duration of support, that also is variable. So there are parts of our training where we're trained to support a family in the fourth trimester, which is really 3 or 4 months after baby is born. But realistically, the support just doesn't, it isn't
At that
magically
point.
unnecessary after 4 months and you've got it all figured out.
Yeah.
Anyone with children knows that they're always evolving.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
think you got it, and then the next day it's completely different. And so it's the same with that support. I know, like me, and there are some other doulas out there, we will, support families beyond 4 months, 5 months, and, continue on up to a year. Some of us even more than that. And I'm in that camp where it's like, I've met with families that are like, well, I need somebody to take care of my child so we can go on a date night, but I don't know that I trust a high school student to do that. And
Yeah.
so they feel more comfortable, yeah, with a
Yeah.
with a doula because we do have that specific training on how to care for infants, right? So,
Absolutely. So it can kind of evolve even from the needs in the very beginning to as different components are coming forward like that, you work with them on that level to see where you fit into as their family is expanding.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really cool too. Like sometimes we always want the families to graduate and break up with us because that tells us, okay, they've got it now. Like they've built that confidence, they've learned those skills. It's not at all offensive when families break up with us. It's actually a cause for celebration.
Good
Yeah, yeah. But then, there might be a tough season where it's like, hey, like, baby is not sleeping and we're really going through it. Can you come for a couple of nights just so we can keep like catch up on our sleep? And we can do that too. So it's really fantastic that there is that flexibility. And certainly if I don't have the availability, I reach out to one of my colleagues and I see if they have the availability and they do the same for me. So it's just a really lovely support system for the families.
Yeah. That's so
Yeah.
good to hear that it's really fluid as each infant and each individual as a parent is so different and unique too. So the fact that you can step into that place of how are you doing? What do you need? How can I help? And even identifying some of the things that you may see that could be helpful to offer, I imagine is a place that, I can put myself back into those early days of not even knowing what to ask for help for and just feeling
Yes.
so depleted and to have
Yeah.
somebody experience that can step in and say, here, how about I take your little one for a little bit and you just have a nap, or I see some laundry that needs to be done, or whatever the scenario may be. That's
Yeah.
really valuable for a lot of families.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, like it saves on energy, especially the energy you don't have if
Mhm.
you don't have to ask. You can
Yeah.
just like someone walks in and they just see it and they do it.
Yeah.
And that's, yeah,
And then
that's,
building that trust and that relationship with where you can get to that point where someone can come in and do those things. That's a really valuable connection.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
And you touched on support for the partners as well. So, absolutely a lot of attention for mom and babe in all the various ways. And also the importance of including the family as an entirety. And sometimes I feel the partners may not even know how that they fit into things.
Mhm.
You would talk on that a little bit, your experiences of working with families as a whole and dads or partners in those places of maybe needing support as well, or how everyone can work together.
Yeah, for sure. And certainly, yeah, doulas can pick up on that too if they're noticing that the partner is maybe just a little out of sorts or they're looking kind of awkward, you know, they can go up to the partner and be like, "Hey, like, can I show you how to do this? Like maybe change the diaper or can I
Mm,
show you how to wash baby or maybe
yeah.
just check in and be like, "So, like so and so's asleep, baby's asleep. How are you?" Like actually. And just really like connect with them on that level because I know for myself like the attention was on me and baby, not so much on the partner. I think a lot of people think and assume that partner's okay because partner didn't go through that big event,
Yeah.
but they've witnessed that big event and maybe something isn't sitting right with them either, right? And so it is just as important to check in with that partner and make sure that they're doing well, that they feel like they're supporting their partner and baby in the ways that they need to, because maybe they are feeling a little bit, out of place. Like, what did I just do?
Yeah.
I'm a parent now. What
Yes.
now?
Quite an upheaval, and I say that in a very loving, nurturing way. It's a state of upheaval when you're welcoming someone new into your family, as far as a little babe to care for, and it can, yeah, just throw everyone out of sorts for a little bit and take a while to get adjusted and settled, and everyone find their way of thriving again.
Yeah.
So that's where I feel like someone like yourself, a third party person coming in that when it's the right fit and a trusted relationship and someone that is experienced in what they're doing and isn't necessarily a family member, it can be, a neutral position that can be a really helpful lens to offer support from.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad that you brought that up. Doulas are that neutral person. We're trained to be unbiased support, evidence-based, neutral in how we give support and how we support the families overall. So, yeah, it's nice because there are so many places where there's conflicting information or just a bombardment of information. And I know for myself, that's where it really fed into my own anxiety is like everyone's saying something different and I don't know like what the right choice is or what the right answer is. And so a doula can come in and really help to weed all of that out and really just help to ground, the parents, the mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, and really help to just like reassure her too that hey, like you're doing everything right or
Mm.
like hey why don't we actually explore this a little bit more.
And
Yeah,
be more interactive and observative in what's happening, not just a one-sided, seeing someone else do something online that doesn't know any context to what's actually happening in their family. It just goes a lot deeper and more specific for the level of care and attention and to the situation.
yeah, for sure. And I mean, in this generation, in this day and age, it's different than our parents too. So what our parents did when they parented is not necessarily maybe what we should be doing as parents. And so just understanding that too. Um, it's okay that you parented in that way, but this is how I want to parent and really just trying to, um, I guess, like build that confidence with the parents to be able to say those things, build
Hmm.
those boundaries and
Yeah.
and feel good about it. I'm not offending you, mom, but this is how I've chosen to do this and that's okay, right? Hmm.
Yeah. Just have somebody, like you said, the neutral third party person to really ground that energy for boundaries and decision making and having peace of mind for family living.
Yeah, yeah, just that overall empowerment for sure.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Well, thank you for joining us for this chat and sharing, answering those questions. And this seems like such an important resource for new families, or even if they're well into that postpartum chapter, knowing that they can reach out if something has evolved and they're feeling like, yes, this would be an amazing support for me. Knowing that there's individuals like yourself out there is, yeah, so needed.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you again for inviting me to do this. Like I love talking about, postpartum support and that mental health piece because it is so near and dear to my heart and
Yeah,
my own postpartum experience. So,
thank you. And I know
yeah.
you have some information that you have to offer for people as well if they want to learn more, some points of reference. So we'll make sure to share that link with people so they can access that information. And we'll include your website and your Instagram handle and anything else that you want to share that way as well.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you, Cher.
You're very welcome. All right. Great day, Krista. And
Yeah,
yeah,
you
have a good day,
too.
everyone tuning in.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. You too.